Welcome back to the Charleston County RoadWise program. It's all about the transportation sales tax. And today we said we were going to introduce you to something that's free and fun. Not free in money, but certainly it gives one the feeling of freedom, and that's bicycling. And we have built a number of bicycle paths and pedestrian walkways along with our resurfacing program for quite a number of years now. As a matter of fact, about $10.5 million per year goes into bicycle paths and pedestrian walkways. We're following something called the Community Improvements Program, and it's one where many, many cities and counties across the state participate, making sure that we not only build large roads, but make sure that we build roads that allow people to exercise. I'd like you to meet my guest today. He is Brad Jaynes, and he is service manager for
Charleston Bicycle Company.
I thought you would better do it rather than me so that you could get it out right. The reason we're doing this, Brad, is because we want people to know, the Charleston County RoadWise program wants people to know that we're thinking about those riders, those bicycle riders, and the people who like to walk. And when I see the bridge run and I see people walk and ride, that tells me something about Charleston. You own a bicycle shop. Or your partner, or you're part of a bicycle shop. What does that say to you?
Well, the bridge in particular is probably one of the most well-used facilities out there, the Cooper River Bridge, I'm assuming that you're referring to. It's probably one of the most well-used facilities out there, and it's certainly a case of creating something that there wasn't such an apparent need for, but once it was in place, it became obvious that people very much want things like that. We see loads and loads of people up there on our group rides that we do sometimes to the other side of town.
And we see people on bicycles riding throughout the city. And, of course, you're selling. I don't know what sales are like here, but they must be pretty healthy.
They can always be healthier, but we are happy to say that we are under new ownership and we are coming back strong, partly as a result, I think, of some of the facilities that are making it a little easier for some people to get around. Of course, it's not just about the fun aspect. It's also a means of transportation for a lot of us, and that's critical.
That's an excellent point, because not everybody drives an automobile, especially in downtown Charleston, because it's so crowded. College students and the like.
Exactly, and it's so easy to get around a place like downtown Charleston on a bicycle, considering the speed limits, the average flow of traffic. On the other hand, it is a place where you find some tight spaces and some narrow lanes. But I think that if both parties involved do their jobs, which is being responsible, I think it can work just fine. And, of course, the more people we have on bicycles, the fewer cars we get on the roads, and hopefully the less traffic and congestion we see.
I know you're aware of the transportation sales tax program.
Yes.
Because you're one of those businesses. Businesses mostly pay into that, and those dollars are being used to build large and small projects. What were your thoughts when I told you when we got here that, in fact, some of the money, some of the transportation sales tax money is going into pedestrian walkways and bicycle paths?
We're happy with both facilities. Anything that benefits people on foot, benefits people on bicycles, benefits people on cars. There are also great examples of multi-use facilities like the West Ashley Greenway and the Cooper River Bridge that are well used for a good reason. But we support the inclusion of pedestrians as well as bicyclists.
I can think of places like Folly Beach and in neighborhoods, throughout neighborhoods. And these walkways and bicycle ways are meandering their way through, and it's not a simple task to design something like that. Would you imagine?
I would certainly imagine that it's a difficult task, given the limitations of zoning and easements and all sorts of engineering. I'm sure nightmares in some cases. But we're just happy that we're able to get just a little extra room on facilities that are new or being resurfaced that help everybody, like I said.
I'm only recently back in the Charleston area, and I'm wondering, of course you're a young person, but I'm wondering, has this always been the way it is, that people like to walk here in Charleston and ride their bicycles, and therefore when the government gets involved and provides them with paths to use, that's a good thing?
Being 40 years old, I can't say what that might have been like, but I can say that certainly in a place like Charleston, there's every reason to be walking places and bicycling places when you have sunshine just about throughout the year. You have a little bit of rain here and there, but it's one of those places where it's feasible to be on your feet or on a bicycle most of the year. And, it's one of the older cities in the nation that I'm sure at one point was predominantly people on foot, people on horses, people on bicycles. The original planning for the peninsula, I'm sure, didn't involve cars. It involved things without internal combustion.
Can you envision perhaps someday a path that would literally wind around the county all the way, a greenway of some sort, with walking and riding opportunities?
Absolutely. That's the dream, really, is to have almost a wheel shape involved, perimeter greenway, as you describe, with spokes that radiate from centers of, commerce, centers of neighborhoods, at least arterial greenways. That really would be a dream, to have some larger facilities like the West Ashley Greenway, the West Ashley Bikeway, Cooper River Bridge, things like that connect major centers in the area.
So you agree that these pathways should go over bridges as well?
Absolutely. Those are some of the most challenging environments for people on bicycles, and as a result, people in cars too.
When we come back from the break, we're going to go to a break for just a moment, but when we come back from the break, we're going to be talking with Brad about something that I think is interesting going on in the community, and that is that there are a number of bike paths and walkways that are in practically every neighborhood. So much so until Charleston, South Carolina, has been recognized for the work that it does in providing these kinds of healthy ways to transport oneself around the community. We'll talk about that in just a moment.